So with Ewers, Caleb Williams, the future of Oklahoma and Texas football, do you believe by 2022 that OU Texas will be the dominant rivalry game on everybody's college football calendar, or is Ohio State Michigan still going to be it?
So let me ask you a question. When's the last time Michigan beat Ohio State?
2011.
So we're talking about 9 years, and so
Mhm.
when's the last time Michigan had a better quarterback than Ohio State? Like maybe they were even when they had Shoelace Robinson.
I was about to
Those couple
say
years.
it'd have to be 98, but I'm not even sure that you would have gone with that. Like it had to be
Yeah, I mean,
pre Jim Tressel.
like this is you're now talking about, Carr and now Jim Harbaugh, and what Jim Harbaugh has been able to do at the pro and collegiate level because to me that rivalry it doesn't carry the same luster that it once did for me personally, because the games haven't been good. They really haven't. Like at least OU Texas, I know, look, y'all have won 5 straight Big 12 championships. I'm going to tell you a little bit how we're going to level up, though.
Okay.
But y'all have won 5 straight, and you guys have, dominated the Big 12. But our games have been very competitive over the last 5 years, right? You guys have won majority of them, but, even the random year we won in 15, we got the golden hat with Charlie Strong and Gerard Hurd. Those games feel like rivalry games from the sense of you hear the term all the time, throw the records out the window. I don't feel that way about Ohio State, Michigan anymore. And I did growing up. I used to have, just like I used to feel the same way about Tennessee, Florida, and, in the early 2000s. What happened to that? Right? The Ohio State, Michigan rivalry. Last year when Haskins, I think, almost scored 70 points. I mean, that's Texas OU, especially 2018 when we played twice. The intensity of those games, we split. Y'all won the one that mattered in terms of the Big 12 championship game, but it was neck and neck. I remember that 2018, the first 7 quarters, because we played 8 quarters. The first 7 quarters, the score was even. That's a true. And then you have to also factor in the 50-yard line split, Dallas, Texas, Cotton Bowl, the whole thing behind it, versus Ohio State, Michigan doing a traditional home and home. I personally, and maybe this is my bias, RJ, I have OU Texas. I think it will eventually, especially now that they may not even play this year, or likely won't play this year. Now, hopefully we get to play. I mean, or responsibly, I should say, in a responsible manner, because right now that's in jeopardy. But if we get to the point that we're able to play, and they don't, it's going to be interesting. So I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I think one of the last points you made was the most salient one. Right now, Ohio State, Michigan ain't going to play, right? That right there makes OU Texas a more dominant rivalry right now at this moment, because it's still scheduled to be played, let alone if it gets played, because people are going to use this moment to politicize the Power 5 and to say that the SEC, the ACC, and the Big 12 care about football. The Pac-12 and the Big 10 don't care about football, which is patently untrue, right? But so is the fact that you're not trying to be safe and do this, right? But more than that, I look at it this way. Neither Oklahoma nor Texas has won a national championship since 2005. Texas' last trip to a national championship was 2009. Oklahoma's was 2008. We're going on more than a decade of neither one of those programs being in the national championship game, let alone win a championship. Meanwhile, Ohio State won one in 2014. Michigan has been competitive for the most part during the Jim Harbaugh era, and then some, right? It ain't what it was with Brady Hoke. It ain't what it was with Rich Rodriguez, and that makes them happy. I get that.
Sure.
I also think that when you're talking about how the NFL evaluates your team, you really got to give it up to Ohio State. More NFL draft picks than any other program in the history of the NFL. 7 defensive backs drafted since 2016 in the first round. I hate to bring it up this way, but it's been 2015 since y'all got a first-round draft pick at Texas.
Look, I'm well aware of that, and
I've
we've covered that plenty of times on the channel.
All right. I'm bringing it up to say, is a rivalry more than the game? Is a rivalry also what do your players do, right? Because I feel like Texas owes L.J. Humphrey some money.
So let's back up though.
Okay.
Your question was in 2022.
Yes.
Right?
Which is to say,
right. So what I'm telling you, what I'm telling you,
okay,
is that we had a bad decade. I've said that at the beginning. 2010 to 2019, we had a bad decade, right? I feel with a solidified infrastructure at the University of Texas, because from top down, we just took the interim tag off the school president, Jay Hartzell, as far as I know. Chris Del Conte is here for the long haul.
Right.
Hopefully Tom Herman is here for the long haul. We have not had that. We've had so much instability with the athletic department. The school presidents, we've had, I think, 3 this past decade. Now we have that stability. Hopefully we look at 2030. Theoretically, these are all career positions to where leadership goes top down. So 2022, if we have what we're looking at in terms of Texas finally starting to come back and hopefully dethrone you guys so we can stop the streak and we're nationally relevant again. And this leads me to my next point about leveling up, because we started the 2000s decade with getting Vince Young, and we were kind of an 11-win team, and we blew a Big 12 championship game in 2001 to Colorado, but we ended up winning the national championship, like you said, in 2005. You don't get Quinn Ewers to win the Big 12. You get Quinn Ewers to win the national championship. You get Trevor Lawrence to win a national championship. No disrespect, but Clemson doesn't need Trevor Lawrence to win the ACC. I don't need like that type of player. I need that type of player to win me playoff games. And I think that's to my point about leveling up. That's where you guys have missed the boat, because you've had all these people win Heismans and go win number 1 overall picks, but y'all have not won one playoff game. And then you get up there and go to what?
How many playoff games has Texas been to?
I just said.
Okay,
we have Georgia not even been in the playoffs. We have not been in the playoffs, RJ.
Georgia is proof. Georgia and Alabama are proof. You ain't got to win the conference championship game to get into the playoff. You ain't got to do it. You just got to be that good. You ain't got to win it. Like, that's where that argument gets thrown out the window for me. Those 2 teams have shown everybody you ain't got to be the conference champ. You just got to be one of the best teams in college football, which is what your roster says you should be. Yes, you have to be one of the best teams
in college football, but you also have to be at a point in this at that stage. You have to play at that level, and when you get into a game against an LSU, I'm talking about what y'all did last year. We were a disappointment.
So,
right?
I'm giving you an opportunity to say it. You beat Georgia. Say it. Say it.
I'm not saying it. I'm not
Come on. You went to you beat a team the caliber of Georgia in that Sugar Bowl, and you don't want to say it.
What I'm saying, RJ, is y'all went and played LSU, and they're still scoring on your defense right now, sir. That's just is what it is.
Hey man, congratulations on beating Utah in the Alamo Bowl.
Bro, yeah, but all I'm saying is if we get to that point, we're winning a playoff game. That's my belief.
I mean, it's easy to say,
because at the end of the day, we still like you said 2 key points.
It's easy to say, but you ain't been there. You ain't been there.
We still have it. We haven't been there yet. Who was the last of our 2 teams? Who was the last one in the national championship game? Texas or OU?
You mean when you were what, 10, 12, 17?
And how old were you when OU played Florida?
Oh, man, I was a sophomore in college. Yeah.
Okay, and I was 20 years old.
Okay, so all I'm saying, like, look. Until Texas can beat Oklahoma in a Big 12 championship game, or more than that, Oklahoma has such a bad season that y'all ain't got to play OU in a Big 12 championship game. That's what Quinn Ewers, I'll give you that, right? That's what you bring in a Quinn Ewers to do. But to try to say what Oklahoma hasn't done as a means for what Texas is going to be able to do is a flawed argument. Because you're trying to tell me that the way for Texas to get better is for Oklahoma to not be Oklahoma. And that's just not going to be the case, right? Like,
No, that's not what I'm saying. Okay. What I'm saying is Oklahoma, this is where I disagree with you.
Okay.
Because I heard you say yesterday that a Big 12 team will have to go undefeated to make the playoffs.
True.
I believe it was your opinion.
Yeah.
Okay. So all I'm saying is, what if Texas and Oklahoma are some of the best two teams in the country? Okay. I'm not saying you're going to have two teams from the Big 12 get in, but hypothetically, let's say we have a situation similar to 2018. We play a high-level football game in Dallas.
Right.
One of us wins. And then both of us run the table. We have to play again for Big 12 championship, probably the week before Christmas. And we're both top rank. And let's say the team that lost avenges their victory, they're a one-loss conference champion. I do think that team would get in, especially if that's where I disagree. Well, I'm assuming with Lincoln Riley, y'all lost only 3 Big 12 games since he's been the coach. I'm not naive to say, Oklahoma's just going to fall off a cliff all of a sudden and Texas is going to take over. Right. No, sir. I expect Spencer Rattler to be amazing. I expect, shout out and rest in peace to Trey Sermon's football season this year. Oh man, yeah, for real though. And leaving the party. Yeah. But I expect, I don't have any doubt that whether it's Theo Weiss or Rambo or Bridges or whoever will do what CeeDee Lamb and Hollywood and all those guys did before, because that's what y'all are. What I've told my audience, my Texas fans, is you have to assume Oklahoma's going to be great. You have to beat them. No different than LSU was great last year. We played them in Austin. Right. We lost. But you have to beat teams like that. So I'm not saying we're going to dethrone you guys' chance because y'all go 7-3 next year. That's not my argument.
Let me jump in there then. The reason I said that the Big 12 champ will have to go undefeated is because we're doing the conference only thing, right? Where we don't get to compare non-conference teams to non-conference records. Like there's no Oregon, Auburn to base this off of, or Texas, LSU, as much as I genuinely wanted to see that game, because I think that is going to go the other way. We just don't get to see it. I think that as the committee has done, it judges who it thinks are the best teams in college football, and what Oklahoma has frequently been is the best of the rest, right? I think in a normal year, a one-loss team, especially if it's an OU Texas type of situation where that team avenges its loss, sure. But all things being equal, Clemson runs the table, right? Assume that an SEC team goes undefeated.
Clemson's in.
Right.
Yeah.
Assume that an SEC team goes undefeated, they're in, right? Then you're talking about basically a one-loss Big 12 team in this scenario, right? And we're given, because an undefeated Big 12 team gets in. A one-loss Big 12 team versus an undefeated American team where there is no Pac-12, there is no Big 10. Now, maybe you put that Oklahoma team or that Texas team in because you feel like that's the best of the rest. Cool. But I believe that there is a stigma against Oklahoma in particular, but really the Big 12, because Oklahoma has frequently been the best team in the Big 12, and when they go play a quality ACC, Clemson, a quality SEC, LSU, Alabama, Georgia, it doesn't work, right? So you're also having to tread on Oklahoma's reputation, because that's just the way it is, right? I mean, if it was Texas that had won 5 straight, you'd have to tread on Texas's reputation of what they had done. And that's why I think this is going to be a tough sell. But I mean, this is message board talk right now, because what even the hell does the season look like? All right. Okay. So
right.